In 2020, in an isolated cave in Borneo, archaeologists made an impossible discovery. A skeleton, 31,000 years old. But it wasn't an ordinary skeleton. The left leg was missing, not because of an accident, not because of an animal. It had been cut, intentionally, surgically. This would become the oldest evidence of amputation in human history, 24,000 years older than any other known similar operation. The story begins with a child, a boy, somewhere between 10 and 15 years old. He lived in a tribe of hunter-gatherers in the prehistoric jungles of the island. One day, something terrible happened to his leg. Maybe a hunting accident, maybe a fall from rocks, maybe the bite of a venomous animal. We will never know the exact cause, but the wound was severe, irreversibly severe. Without treatment, the infection would have killed his entire body. Someone in the tribe made a radical decision. The leg had to go, so the boy could live. There were no hospitals, there were no steel scalpels, there was no morphine, only stone knives carefully carved. The healer cut through muscle, through tendons, through bone, without the boy dying from shock or blood loss. That alone was almost a miracle. But the story was only beginning. After the amputation, the wound had to be cared for daily. Without antibiotics, the risk of infection was enormous. The tribe had to know plants with healing properties. They had to keep the wound clean in the middle of a tropical jungle, an environment full of bacteria, of humidity, and insects. Any mistake meant certain death, but the boy survived. The bone at the end of the amputated leg healed completely. New, smooth tissue formed with no signs of infection. Clear proof. Someone took care of him, day after day, year after year. Analysis shows he lived at least 6 to 9 years after the operation, maybe even longer. With only one leg, in a steep mountainous jungle. Terrain impossible to cross without perfect balance. And yet, the tribe never abandoned him. They fed him, they protected him. They kept him part of community life, despite his disability. This completely changes what we believed about prehistoric hunter-gatherers. For a long time, it was believed that nomadic life left no room for the vulnerable, that only the strong, capable of hunting, survived. This skeleton proves exactly the opposite. The community chose to invest time, resources, and care into a single member who could no longer contribute physically as before. The discovery rewrote the history of medicine. Before this skeleton, it was believed complex amputations first appeared 7,000 years ago. Alongside agriculture, with stable villages, with the first forms of organized society. But this boy lived 24,000 years before that, in an isolated tropical jungle, without writing, without metal, without cities. Which means one shocking thing. Complex medical knowledge didn't appear alongside civilization. It existed long, long before. Perhaps in many other tribes, in many other places, lost forever in time. This boy, left without a name, without a complete story, still shows us something profound about human nature. Even 31,000 years ago, people didn't abandon the weak. They found solutions, with stone, with courage, with care for one another. Empathy is not a modern invention. It's as old as humanity itself.